subscribe, and give this video a like.
Alright, so the next topic here. Finally, Breath of the Wild 2.
Yay!
Going around, again, starting with Holly. 3 predictions for Breath of the Wild 2. It could be story, gameplay mechanics, new abilities for Link, anything.
Well, I feel like he's going to be a magician.
A magician.
Woo!
A magician
Yeah.
with that arm of his. I feel like that is in itself is going to be a new ability. Not really sure how, but it looks like he's absorbed whatever power was kind of forcing Ganondorf to stay down.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's now Link, because the responsibility is now going to be his, as opposed to whose ever that was. Oh. And I don't know. I'm ready for like a really dark story. So I would just really, really, really love if it's just like, the history of the royal family is the history of Calamity Ganon. So like he is just
voice though.
yes, cute old person woman voice. I'm not quite there yet. One day I will be, and maybe I can voice over.
Oh.
The history of the royal family. But so I feel like they're tied together, right? So that sentence there just puts it all in perspective, that he's just as old as the royal family, and they're
He might take offense to that.
Oh, maybe.
Like, I'm not old.
I am not that old.
No, I'm still in my prime.
Reincarnations, all right. But I feel like it would be so cool if, like, I don't know, the royal family was the bad people, because they've oppressed the Gerudos and, literally took their king and threw him under a castle and some catacombs and kind of barely kept him alive so he wouldn't reincarnate. And the reason why he's so hateful and evil is because they did him wrong. So it'd be super dope if the royal family were the ones to blame, and it's all their fault for
Plus,
what's
they
happening.
banished the Sheikah as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like it'd be so
guys.
cool if it was like, I don't know, just
If
that
it wasn't-
level of darkness.
Yeah,
and
like it's not
corruption.
completely black and white, good, evil.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's morally
Yeah, nothing
corrupt.
is really. So I feel like that would be really, really cool. I like dark, moody storyline.
Yeah, did you see the quote from, like, I believe it came directly from Aonuma, where they said that Breath of the Wild 2 would be their darkest Zelda game?
Yeah.
And like even there was some line where they said it would be darker than Majora's Mask, and they were taking inspiration from whatever this means. I have no idea. Breath of the Wild 2 took inspiration from Red Dead Redemption 2. So I don't know what that means. But
Link's
a lot
a
of-
boy now.
Yo!
yeah, like they specifically named off that game in the same way that they said Breath of the Wild took inspiration from Skyrim. So whatever that
Right.
means.
I haven't played it, but maybe it's just sad.
There's a lot of dirt everywhere.
Yeah,
So
corruption.
Yeah, I haven't
dirt.
thought about that. Yeah, maybe they just mean like the tone of it.
Yeah,
Not necessarily gameplay. That is just going to be like more depressing.
yeah.
You're going to
Which
pick
I'm
up the controller
Totally,
and cry
totally down for.
every time.
Yeah, I like that. I love that. I love animes that make me cry. I love video games that make me cry. Just finished Stranger Things today. That made me cry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We all need a good cry sometimes.
exactly.
Did you?
Yeah.
So off topic. I was watching Stranger Things 3. I have no idea why it didn't click before, but the Upside Down is basically the Stranger Things universe version of the Dark World, because it's like a darker, eerier thing. Like everything has like a purplish, darker hue to it. The world itself is very similar. Like if there's a building in one world, there's a building in
Right.
the other world,
Mhm.
but it's just slightly different.
Yeah, just a lot more
Yeah.
decayed.
Yeah.
More. Yeah,
So it's like their
Yeah,
version
it's
of
good.
the Dark World.
I love
And
it.
it's all about their Ganon, whatever it is, trying to like break through or whatever. And they
True.
even had they used a poster where it was 11 or L or whatever.
Yep.
And she was standing there with that thing that's like the main bad thing that has like all the arms and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they had it side by side with the scene of Link fighting the main Calamity Ganon from Breath of the Wild, where they have like the same, like, it's literally the same shape and everything with the head on the front and like all the weird deformed arms coming off. Yeah. So.
Dang. Yeah.
Anyways, Daniel, what's your Breath of the Wild prediction?
Oh, so many things that we've
also
so many
thank
that we've
you
talked
to the
about.
71 people watching.
Yeah.
Yo, what's up?
YouTube, and however many are watching on Twitch, because I don't check Twitch.
Poor Twitch.
Wow,
I did see
so
with
neglected.
The restream bot.
Yeah.
I think someone was there, but I think I'm probably not the only one saying this, and I'm pretty sure I've said it in previous episodes, but the whole like tag team sort of two playable character mechanic, at least some scripted scenes at the very least, where we get to play as Zelda, because she seems far more involved from the very tiny short scene we've seen. The small amount of footage we've seen of this game, she seems far more directly involved than she did in the first game. So at least something where if she's not at least a travel companion, because we haven't had one of those since, well, actually it hasn't been that long, but but we didn't have one in the first game. And and if not a travel companion, then a character you can like switch between who you're playing as, so, or both, you know.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, it'd be really cool. And so if she specifically if she has the Sheikah Slate, she can use all of those abilities from the first game, where Link will get like all new abilities, and so you get to kind of have the best of both worlds. That'll be real nice. Nintendo, I know you're listening. They're not listening actually, but
like no.
No, they're not. But we're not that cool.
So we've said this a million times, but give us like the actual items. Like allow one of them to keep the Sheikah Slate and possibly even get more abilities for the Sheikah Slate. Like give Zelda the Sheikah Slate so she can just be like the mage or have all the magic powers, and then Link can get his abilities like that aren't required by the Sheikah Slate, like Daruk's protection and everything. Like those aren't from the Sheikah Slate. Only the bombs and stuff are from the Sheikah Slate. And then for bombs or whatever, he can use actual bombs and actual items that he finds in the dungeons. So that would be my thing, like hookshot and stuff. Let us be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Do you think that you're gonna start the game with those like champion abilities again, though, like carried over, or if the Switch reads your save file from the first game and lets you keep whatever abilities you got in the first game?
That'd be pretty cool.
Like that would be cool. So if you skip those dungeons in the first game, then you don't get to keep those abilities. But if you got them in the first game,
theoretically you should keep it.
Well, yeah,
but
because it's after the first one.
But it might do something like Majora's Mask or even Link's Awakening, because at the end of A Link to the Past, Link has all those items, but then he gets on a ship and gets shipwrecked and loses everything. So like
Link's Awakening, at least that one makes sense.
And then Majora's Mask, presumably,
who knows what he
they
did with all
steal
that
everything, and like your horse, like you have to try to get everything back. Kind of like in Skyward Sword, when you end up on the Elden province for the second time, or the whatever it is, where you have to like sneak around and gather all your gear. Yeah.
As long as they don't, like, Metroid's probably the worst for this, where for some reason half the game she just doesn't have all her stuff.
Who's she?
Samus.
What?
Just like between Metroid 2 and Super Metroid, there's like maybe like a day gap, and she suddenly just doesn't
Metroid
have all her
loses
stuff.
all of his stuff.
Oh no.
No, but something like that. Maybe like Ganondorf, when he comes back to life, he does something and makes the Sheikah Slate lose all of.
He eats the Sheikah Slate.
He just drinks some water. Hydrated Ganon.
Yeah.
Ooh. Have you guys seen all the cute little cartoons and stuff everyone keeps making?
Oh yeah.
Animations of hydrated Ganon.
I've been missing this.
He's a
I'll have
hashtag
to look
Yo,
up.
just
boy, apparently.
hashtag hydrated Ganon. It's like Ganon's back from the dead. He drinks some water and he's like a sexy man. It's
Nice.
so cute. Everyone's like, I'm living for hydrated Ganon.
Yeah, people are thirsty for hydrated Ganondorf. Like, they just-
Oh, it's so good. He's very pretty.
What's another feature for you, Holly?
I don't know. Feature. It'd be cool for going back to Link becomes like a mage if he has his cool powers in his arm and he can like infuse weapons with them. Be like,
What do you mean
you know.
infuse weapons?
like he has this crazy Twilight Realmy type arm vibe going on now, and maybe he can just like just change the weapon's abilities with his arm. Infuses weapons with cool powers.
Yeah.
just magic it.
I saw when I in my reaction for the trailer, I automatically thought that like the castle was gonna lift up and then just turn upside down and fall again. And I was like,
Upside down?
yeah, I was like, ooh, low rule. I was like, oh, we're just gonna like somehow just like flippy the world, just go dark world. Like, what's going on here? I don't know what my brain was thinking, but I was like
Just
automatically
it
like, ooh.
like it levitates and then just turns upside
Just
down
turns
and then
around and
slowly,
falls.
like very slowly, and then just drops.
Yo, that's literally what I had going through my brain. I'm like, oh, new world. So everything was a mess in my head, but that's literally what I thought. I was like, ooh.
I love it. Oh man.
I don't know. It was a weird time. Everyone else was like, it's gonna go up to the sky and become, Skyloft again. And I'm like, it's gonna turn upside down.
Maybe both. Like an upside down skyloft.
Yeah, I was just really, I don't know. I don't know what was like. I don't know what was going on in my
Actually,
brain, but
The upside down castle dungeon would be pretty cool. Like you have to
Oh,
climb
it'd
up
be
it. If you fall,
crazy.
you fall right off. Like
It'd be like Stone Tower all over again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Stone Tower did that. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just excited. It was. I feel like next year at E3, it's going to be Breath of the Wild again, because unless it's Metroid, okay, Nintendo has exhausted all of their main like big IPs. It was Zelda, then Mario Odyssey, then Smash. This year was Pokemon. So unless it's Metroid, it's going to be Zelda again. Like I guarantee it at E3 next year.
Yeah, they
It's one
can
of the
bring
two.
out.
That's good.
They
Yeah.
can bring out short hair Zelda and make
Yes.
statues.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Well, that is Holly's Twitter that I posted.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Holly T.
I
Wolf.
posted everyone's. So.
Yes, thank you so much. But yeah, I don't know what else. I just think it's going to be really cool, and I'm
Damn,
excited.
Twitter.
Yeah, I think they'll go more traditional with the dungeons. I think they know that people really
People
want
miss them.
that. Yeah, I think they'll hopefully incorporate some underwater exploration, because there was none of that. Yeah, I don't know what else. I think they're just gonna kind of reincorporate all the things that were kind of lacking. That everyone was kind of like, this is very traditional of the series. We would love this in an open world, guys. Like, why'd you take this away?
Yeah.
We love it, but hello,
I
we
want
would like
loft
this too.
wings.
Yeah.
That would be my second one. I'm skipping you, Daniel. Give us loft
Okay.
wings.
Loft wings. Jesse want to fly.
Yeah, how
Oh,
cool,
yeah.
like
I
I've
think
said
they
it a
should put
thousand
it
times,
in
how
the
cool would it be to fly over Hyrule and be able to like look at it all from a downward angle from
Yeah.
like...
Well, we got to do horses, motorcycle. Why not just let us
True.
fly? Let me fly. But I think end game, like a reward for completing all the shrines, would have been better instead of a tuning. If you got to do a loft wing instead, that'd be
Yeah.
For it,
cool.
it's just so. What are they gonna do that is as big as like 120 shrines?
Yeah,
Because that was-
121.
Wow, but that was a lot. You know what I mean? If they go with traditional dungeons, that's really dope because they'll be bigger in general. But say, even at max, if there's like 6, I feel like they need more than that at this point with an open world game, because there's so many hours you need to log. So I feel like, I don't know, what if there's just like all this crazy underneath catacomb stuff that you have to like figure out, and I don't know, maybe there's more shrines underground too that are like dormant and stuff, because there's this massive underground network. Clearly by the trailer, that's like all it was them traveling underground with that whatever their rhino horse elephant thing was. They were clearly down there for quite some time searching. That would be really cool if there was like stuff you could unlock on the way underground too. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like just because it's such a huge scaled game, there needs to be more than just dungeons.
Yeah.
Even though I'm sure they'd be huge. Because they should be.
Yeah, my thought was they like split it 50-50. Like instead of having 120 shrines, have 50 or 60 shrines or mini dungeons, and then have like around the same amount that they had in Ocarina of Time or Twilight Princess for actual dungeons. Like give each major region its own temple or dungeon. And then you just
How
have
many are there?
50.
There's 8. Are there 8 regions?
In Ocarina of Time,
No,
yes.
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild.
That'd be dope.
It's like the desert,
Well, there's more
There's
towers
2.
than 8 for sure,
Yeah.
but
some of them are close to
so
each
we're
other.
talking like
though.
some of them are pretty close to each other. Like the one in the desert and the one in the highlands are like
Pretty
very
close.
close.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, exactly. So
And they could easily explain them suddenly appearing. Like when you get the DLC for Breath of the Wild, the Champions Ballad, there's like a new pedestal that's there or whatever, and you just use it, and all of a sudden these new shrines literally come up from the ground, and it's like, oh, they were always there, they were just hidden under the ground.
In the ground. So what if there's just so many more underground?
Yeah, so like
And you have
they
to
just
travel in the darkness.
Yeah, and like this time, like maybe some snow melts off of a mountain, or like they excavate a bunch of sand from the desert, because you had like was it the Gerudo place, the Arbiter's Grounds? You had like the top of it, but the rest of it was buried under the sand, so you couldn't really see it. It was just like the ruins of the top of it. So like they could have that, or they could just again literally do what they did with like the Sheikah Towers, to where like there's literally these like 1,000 feet tall towers that rise up out of the ground from nowhere.
Or you just find a portal and you go through it, and it's a whole nother
Dark
world.
Yeah, Dark World.
yeah, Portal's
Yes! Nope.
good. Dark World.
Dark World!
Give us Breath of the
Oh,
Wild's
yeah.
version of the Dark World.
That'd be lit.
Yeah, actually that'd be amazing, especially if you got like if they implement like a cool way to quickly go between the two worlds, and like some really neat snappy puzzle to work with that. Like they worked that pretty well on like A Link to the Past and A Link Between Worlds, where you gotta get up on a ledge in one version of the world and then go into the other worlds to now be at the top of the ledge and then move elsewhere. So if they work that in there somehow, I think they're creative enough to make some really
who
cool
knows?
puzzles. Because
Who
I think
knows
we
what
had
they're
enough
doing?
Korok puzzles of just like, okay, take the block, put the block here. Now there's a Korok, and I got a Korok seed. And you know, I think we need some really inventive puzzles.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's I'm
cool.
taking that one. I'm stealing the Dark World idea. There's my number 2, Jesse.
All right.
Thank you.
Holly, do you have a final idea? Even if it's like a crazy, completely out there, never going to happen, but you would still love it
Bonkers.
if it did.
Aliens.
Alien? They almost did that
From
in the first.
Majora's
there,
Mask.
there was almost aliens in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
All right, well, I want the ones from Majora's Mask. I want an entire massive mission to explain where they come from.
Yeah, you have to save the milk, right? They're coming
Yeah.
to take all the cows.
They're coming for the cows.
And then you end up going to their spaceship. And that's a dungeon.
And it's Denpei again.
He's up there.
Hey,
They took him.
you found me.
He's like, thank God.
I've been up here for so long. Just drinking
They keep
milk.
mistaking me for a cow.
Oh, jeez. That's horrible.
That's what I want. I want some Majora's Mask unexplained alien.
All right, Daniel, what is your final thing?
Blacksmith.
Blacksmith.
I've said it before, and I'm gonna say it again until I get it. Just give me a blacksmith. Just put him in one
Leroy
village
Jenkins into
somewhere.
Area 51.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, and just okay. So you've got that sword that is like almost broken. As long as it hasn't completely broken, I think if it's almost broken, then you could take it there and have replenish the durability of it. That'd be cool. Because there's some really sweet weapons I'll find sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this one's cool. It looks cool. That's important. and it's got like a really cool like perk. I found it, and it had like an attack up by like high number or something. Or like in my first playthrough of the game, I found a Hylian shield. Or when I found the Hylian shield, it had given me like a defense bonus of like an extra 20 something. So it was like way higher than it's normally supposed to be, as already the most durable shield in the game. And because it was so awesome, I never used it because I didn't want to ruin it.
I did that too. Yeah, you just hoard weapons, you never use it.
Yeah, and if there was a blacksmith, I wouldn't have to worry about that.
Or even some way to just make that weapon just so much more durable.
Yeah, like improve the durability.
Yeah, so it takes that much longer to break.
Bring me some ore and I'll make it more durable. And pay him 20 rupees and give him some ore, and then he's like, come back tomorrow. And
I don't know. Did Skyward Sword have it to where you could repair your shield? Because it had the meter on Skyward Sword to where like they would break after a while. And you could upgrade them, but I don't know if you could repair them.
I never broke a single shield in Skyward Sword, so I don't know.
Wow.
I also just never really used the shield. I would just get hit. So
all right.
That's probably not better.
Are you guys ready to move on to the next topic?
Let's do it.
Hello, everyone. For those who don't know, our podcast, the 𝐈𝐧𝐬𝐭𝐚 is also now available on iTunes and Spotify. And as a thank you to all of the people that subscribe on iTunes and leave us amazing reviews, we have a little spot here where we give some shout outs to some of you that have left some reviews or a star rating. So if you look up the 𝐈𝐧𝐬𝐭𝐚 or 𝐵overJesse on iTunes and leave a comment, we will give you a shout out and read your comment live. So Daniel, what is our first review that you've picked?
Yeah, well, I picked this one up because it's just so nice. This comes from on iTunes, Skirt, unique username. They give us 5 stars on iTunes. They said, this podcast is amazing. It's my go-to every time I start up Breath of the Wild, which I'm still addicted to. Aren't we all? I love listening and finding out new things, and each one of the co-hosts are funny and have their own personality to add. Jesse himself is hilarious, and I respect his opinions because you can tell he's passionate and has an extensive research to back up anything that he says. I'm a fan and also watch the other YouTube videos, and there's a very comforting feeling when I put it on the podcast. Keep up the great work, guys. P.S. I was tempted to write the review as just, it's all right, which was Jesse's take on everything at E3. For those who watched my vlog, I'm like, Jesse, what'd you think of this? And he's like, it was all right. So, and I'm like, trying to contain my hype. So thanks for the little reference there, skirt.
Yeah. Holly, were you able to pick out one that you like?
Yeah, sure.
Right.
This one is from I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrong. Julian Malensky says the best Zelda and Nintendo insight on iTunes. I'm assuming it kind of goes ... Okay, 5 stars. 𝐵overJesse and crew have the best discussion on Zelda and all Nintendo related material on the internet. What makes this podcast so great is the personality of each member. Each one of them are knowledgeable about the source material and have a great sense of humor. I love listening to people talking about Zelda and making me laugh. I also love the theory videos as well. Keep it up, guys. Oh, that's so nice.
Yes, thank you. And the final review here comes from Frymat, who is on our Discord. He says, "Great podcast. This podcast has the funniest group of people that are so informative about the Legend of Zelda series. Very short, very simple. Thank you, Matt." So,
Beautiful.
For the
So beautiful.
for the 80 people that are still watching, congratulations on making it to the end, because this is the Zelda mailbag.
And comment below to let us know what type of videos you would like to see us create in the future. And if you would really like to support all of us here at the Game Over Jessie channel, please consider purchasing a Game Over Jessie t-shirt or becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/GameOverJessie, where you can receive many rewards, such as getting shoutouts, having any topic or theory that you select discussed on the podcast or made into its own video, having your question answered, joining on as a guest on the podcast, and playing with us during our Twitch live streams at twitch.tv/GameOverJessie, and much, much more.